How's everybody doing?
Good, Rob.
All right, well, went up to beautiful Bozeman, Montana, and ended up coming on the short end of the stick, and played a tough game against a tough team and good physical, sound defense and a pretty solid offense. So, like the way the guys competed. As I say every week, we haven't cashed our chips in on any game yet. We've done a good job. So, but just came up short. So, with that.
Any idea why the offense kind of stalled out in the second half?
Well, one thing is we did a very poor job of the field position game. I think we had 1 3 and out, and we had 26 first downs, which is a lot. For our goal of the game is 25. Roughly as we look at it, and give credit to Montana State first and foremost because they get a first down or two, and our defense would do a great job of stopping them, and then they'd punt the ball, and we started, and I'm not whining about it at all. Just this is how the game went. Okay, it's just like facing a pitcher throws a no-hitter on you. Why? Well, because he did. So I think our best starting field position was the -35, and that was after the 2 penalty deal where they kicked off from the 10 and we had a penalty. Other than that, and like I said, when this happens, it's a credit to the opponent for keeping us backed up. We were inside the 4 a couple times. We were inside the 10 a couple times, and other than the 35-yard line, our best field position was the 26, 24 in that range. And it was just one of those games where usually you plan on one backed up when you do your game planning, you plan on one, what we call backed up, meaning inside the 5. You plan on one backed up series of game through a course of a season. On average, you will have one a game, and we had I think 4 or 5. It was one of those, like, every time it was like, oh my God, here we go again. So, and then it seemed like every time we were down in the closed end. So it's hard to consistently drive 80 yards every series. We'd get a few first downs and stall out, and so it's. I'm not whining or complaining. I mean, that's just the way the game went. We had to go execute for 80 yards every time, and that's difficult. It's not the easiest thing to do. So. Usually you can count on a field position starting around the 50 or the 40, and it's a shorter field, but this is just one of those games where we were backed up.
Is there anything you can do on special teams to account for a guy like they had who's kind of doing that role, just bouncing around and
just bouncing perfect?
Okay.
It was awesome, and he did a great job. You have to put, we eventually put 2 returners back, but once again, you play your percentages. He's not going to do it every time. Well, shoot, he did it every time, So, we addressed that.
Going kind of off of special teams, what is the current status of the kicking game?
Our starting kicker moving forward is Sean Chaney, and the backup is Matt Peterson. That's our depth at kicker right now. That's going to be the depth at kicker moving forward.
What's going on with?
I don't know. It's just that's our depth at kicker, Sean Chaney and Matt Peterson. Matt Peterson was all-state kicker at Blackfoot. He plays receiver for us, so it's gonna be fun. So maybe we can throw him a pass out of one of our kicking formations. So that's where we're going with it.
Do you know what Sean's range is?
We had him doing it some in the spring, some in the fall camp, and he'll be okay. He'll have a week of practice. It doesn't faze him. He does a good job with it, but he just hadn't specialized. But he'll be good. He'll be fine. Shoot, a couple games we've thrown him in there and he's done it. So, I like Sean. I like Sean's mental toughness. He just looks at you and goes, okay, got it. And that's what you want out of a kid.
Rob, there were 5 personal foul or unsportsmanlike penalties on Montana State in that game Saturday. You were right down on the field. Were things getting out of hand during that game?
No, it was. One was One was there after the interception for a touchdown. It was their guy taunting, just flat out taunting one of our guys, so they called that. And then the other ones I couldn't see on film, and I don't know what was. It wasn't like dirty, nasty stuff. One was a late hit out of bounds, which could go either way. They could call it, they could not call it, and so I don't know. I don't know how that. It wasn't like it was dirty pool out there at all.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing hard. We were playing hard. It was a fun game to be down there at.
You guys have had a lot of kind of major chunk plays that helped you score, and I think honestly your biggest play in that game was like 37 yards. Is that just kind of dictated by how the game went, or
they
on defense? Very
sound defense, good tacklers. Ty Gregorak is a really good coach. I coached him for 7 years. Love the guy, and they kept us contained, but we still ran for 200 yards. And it's funny, I was texting Bobby Houck after the game and said, yeah, we ran for 200, and he said that's rare to run for 200 and lose a game. I mean, that doesn't happen, but it did. So he just couldn't believe it. He said, that's too bad. And our two running backs, Ty and James, they run hard, and the pile falls forward, and they're fun to watch and put them in there. But they just did a good job of keeping us contained. Was it 37 yards our biggest play? I think
it was.
We had a bunch of like 10 to 12s in there, but not the big explosives that we've been getting during the season. And actually, credit them for not missing tackles and being very sound on defense.
James led the team on the ground, but when I talked to him after the game, he said, you led us on the ground, but you came out with the loss, and he's like, yeah, I didn't do well. Like, a loss means I didn't do well. Is that how they see it?
That's after the game I said the kids were hurting, and just like I said last week, we have all these nice statistics, but I would trade I'd take 100 yards off all that for more wins, and I think everybody, when you come out of a game like that, you're always questioning in your mind, what could I have done better? And I'm sure that's what he was thinking. There's probably some things in the back of his mind that he could have done better. And credit to him, that he's thinking that way. That's awesome.
It kind of seems like offensively you guys have a lot of goals you try to go to, like number-wise, get X amount of first downs, Y amount of yards. Is there a set goal that you guys try to rush for every game?
No. The one thing, our number one goal is to outscore the opponent. That's, duh, right? I laugh at Trox when he put that up there. I was like, yeah, what do you think? That's everybody. But we have some things, we try to limit sacks, have none. Limit turnovers, have none. Move the ball, have some first downs. That's about it. We don't have like a big, massive goal board, just some things that we talk about within the group that we want to do. So, and then, I've talked to you about errors up here, our error percentage, sacks, interceptions, fumbles, drop passes, penalties. Those are the 5 things, that we don't have a necessary goal, but we just look for a percentage. If you have X amount of plays, and then how many of those were errors, and then if you want to be under about 12%. So it's just things within the team that we talk about.
Were they doing anything that you noticed to make it so that Mario was only had one tackle?
Well, it looked like they were, talking with Coop after the game, Roger Cooper, our linebacker coach. I went to him and said, what was going on with Mario? Why did he come out so low? And he's like, well, here, watch. He showed me about 3 or 4 plays where they came up, saw where Mario was, and they just shifted they just shifted a couple things and ran away from him. But, so they had a little plan for him as well.
Do you think more teams will start doing that now that?
Probably.
So?
Hey, there's no original thoughts in football. So it's copycat, man. Whatever the next guy, whatever the other guy did, the next guy is going to do. So you got to adjust that.
Coach, their quarterback came in averaging, I think, about 112 yards a game, and you held him, I want to say, to about 67.
Yeah.
Did you have like a spy on him, or did you do anything different?
No, it's just good team defense. Our kids played well. 7 points in the second half is good enough to win. And the bottom line was the field position game. I thought our defense played great. They were after the first drive, they settled in and they held them to a couple 3 and outs and kept the game in check and allowed us to tie it up by halftime. So no, our defense just played well. They did a great job.
How about UC Davis coming up? Their quarterback, Mayer, Offensive Player of the Week, voted today by the Big Sky coach. I mean, you've been watching them this week. What do we see out there?
Well, yeah, I've been watching them actually against our opponents because I won't watch any. I've seen enough UC Davis the last couple weeks against our opponents, but he's accurate. He's first in the conference, second in the nation in completion percentage. He's second in the conference, fifth in the nation in completions per game. First in the conference, 10th in the nation in passing efficiency. I mean, you just go down. First in the conference, fourth in passing yards and passing yards per game. Boom, just on and on and on. And then throw Doss in there. Receiving yards, number one in the conference, number one in the nation. Receptions per game, one in the conference, one in the nation. It's just our defensive staff went through all his receptions or all of his targets. You know, you look at targeting as well. And then I heard a big noise come out of the defensive staff room. They're all yelling and arguing that they finally found a ball that he dropped or was contested. Everything else was a completion. I said, what was going on here? He goes, and Spence came out and goes, we were just watching Doss's targets. And it's like, he catches everything. Doesn't have a drop, nothing. The guy's awesome. So he's going to be fun to watch. He's going to be fun to prepare for. And then defensively, they have a couple really, they got a good safety, or I want to say a corner that is leading the conference in defended passes. You know, and that's quite a feat. So they're going to present a very tough problem.
Rob, how different are they, or are they different? You know, with Dan as a new coach. I don't know if you've seen him in the past. It's amazing is they're going through the same change we're going through. There's belief there, very competitive. You know, they played Eastern to the wire. The only game that they were really out of is when they played our next opponent, and but they've been solid. I mean, they had Eastern dead to rights, and Eastern completes a 4th and 2, and keeps the ball moving on a tipped pass, you know, to win the game. So they're like I said, they've been in every game. And they're fun to watch. They're tough. Their offense will keep them in the game, and there might be, you know, a ton of points on the board Saturday. It might be the old timey Big Sky, Idaho versus Idaho State, or all those good ones. You know, Nevada, all the good guys.
Given how good this Doss kid is, you guys doing anything defensively to kind of try to slow him down?
Yeah, you know, you can only do so much because they move them around. But yeah, they'll be working on it. I'm sure. I mean, you got to definitely know where number 3 is at all times. So we'll take Big John right there and put him on him. You know, so see if John has any ball skills. So you know, there'll be some. You know, they'll obviously come up with something. You have to.
It looks like their quarterback's yards per completion are a little lower. I mean, what do they do on offense? Are they kind of
a lot of bubble screens and fly sweep and stuff like that. So that helps. You know, especially if you toss the fly sweep, that's a pass. So yeah, they're not as vertical based as we are.
What has to happen on defense for you guys to kind of contain that deadly?
Get off the field. You know, we have to stop them on 3rd down. They're 42% 3rd down conversion percentage. They're right behind, right ahead of us. They're 5th. We're 6th. You know, so there's a lot of similarities if you look at these teams. It's awesome. So, and it's gonna be fun. And I don't think any of the kids on the UC Davis team have ever been here, because the last time Davis and Idaho State played was 2013, and that was at Davis. So, you know, be a new experience for them. And Coach Hawkins is one of those guys, man. When he walks in the room, you know he's there. So he's a great one. He'll be glad to be back in Idaho, maybe.
Do they have any kind of a running attack, Rob?
They do. It's not as prominent as ours, but as I look at their statistics, you know, it's in terms of the conference, it's a little bit lower, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try it. If they're smart like everybody else, you try to run the ball. So, but if you have that quarterback and you have that receiver, why? So they're like I said, it's a good deal.
You talked about Doss, Rob. What makes him so special? I mean, you're a receivers coach. You deal with these guys all the time. Is it size? Is it athleticism?
He's not huge. 6'3", 205. It's a good sized guy. That's close to Mitch. He has quarterback's extremely accurate. They got a good system for him. They get the ball in his hands. Not just on downfield stuff. They'll throw him some bubbles and stuff like that and let him run. So, he very well could be, player. He could be offensive player of the year in the conference. Probably won't be because they're not on the top of the heap. But he has my vote. I mean, he's awesome.
Does their 1-3 road record mean anything to you?
Yes and no. I mean, we got to play the game. That doesn't, just like last week we talked about. Our road record was the same going up to Bozeman. And that's one of those things that we said, hey. Just another game. We gotta show up like the team that showed up and played Portland and at home. So no, you don't pull back what you're going to do just because they're 1-3 on the road. Shoot, they're going to come in here and give it their best effort and try to beat us. So we can't. We're not in a position to be able to do that with anybody.
Getting to know you and the players, all of your guys' mindset is we're done with this game, now we're looking to the next one. And you've got 9 seniors, and that's all I've been talking about is getting a win at home next week. Obviously, a win is a win, but how important would this win be for your guys?
In my opinion, it'd be huge because it would give us 3 conference wins. It would give us a fifth victory on the year, put us in position to have a winning season, and then have a win a game on senior day, which hasn't happened here since 2014. And the best thing will be if we can get that done is letting them all sing the fight song in the locker room. So that you always want to play hard, but we said it this morning at our team meeting. There's a lot to play for. 4-1 record at home, a 5th win, which could get us to 6-5 maybe, and then if nothing else, there's 9 seniors that we want to play for.
Just overall thoughts on the game on Saturday.
I thought we played good. Just a lot of things we could work on still. As a team, we're still coming together. I mean, we're pretty much together, but just tuning up those little things and just getting those fixed right. But we all played hard and just didn't go the way we wanted it. But I thought we all played hard and just got to fix up some little things.
John, it seemed like in the past, one of the biggest challenges for the defense was kind of, slowing down quarterbacks that were mobile, that could run and pass. And the last 2 you guys have faced, you've done a better job limiting their rushing yards. Anything you guys are doing differently, or is that an improvement that you guys have seen?
Yeah, definitely is an improvement. Overall, the whole team's been improving, drastically over, this year. And we just focus that. We see that, okay, we're facing a running quarterback, so we got to try to keep them contained as much as possible. So, I mean, whether that's with play calling or whatnot, we rep that through practice throughout the week and just make sure that, we're really focusing on not letting the quarterback get out, whether that's during a pass rush, going up and over, and then switching it up instead of going behind the quarterback to do a counter move and make them either flush up the middle and just kind of keep them in the pocket.
Kind of going back to last Saturday, Mikey, is the kicking game 0 for 3 on 4th downs, all of which were within decent field goal range. Is that frustrating as an offense to leave points on the board like that? Or?
Yeah, it can be frustrating, but also I know that we have the confidence on those 4th downs to go for it too. But when we don't get it, it's definitely frustrating. But when we do get it, I mean, it's obviously it's great for us.
How is now your punter is now your kicker. How's that changing things offensively?
I think it's just getting him more practice. He hasn't really repped too much of it, so I think the more reps he gets, the more confident. I mean, we're already confident in his kicking game or his punting game, obviously, but I think as far as field goals and PATs, like, we'll just become more confident with him.
Hey, Mike, on Saturday, I thought Montana State did about as good a job as anybody this year on you and Mitch. Were they doing anything special? Were you getting doubled, or?
No, I think what Coach Phenicie said was perfect. They were just a sound defense. They executed really well, tackled. They were good in coverage, so I think they just played sound on Saturday.
Oh, John, because I know you guys are going to be getting out of here soon. I read Madison's article with you a couple of weeks ago, and that was a really good interview. But you've been through a lot of stuff, and you got senior day coming up. Has that sunk in yet? Are you just kind of putting it off, or what are your thoughts about senior day for you personally?
No, yeah, I was thinking about that. Kind of was hitting me when I was lifting. Coach Ryan was like, "Man, you only got 3 more weeks with me." And then he's like, just asking me kind of what my next plan is and what I'm gonna do for training-wise after this. And I was just like, man, that's crazy to think about. Like, I really only got 2 games left, and then it's on to see what else happens after that. But yeah, it means a lot. You know, it's kind of a big deal. You know, kind of getting to this point. You know, having a degree in hand and finishing a season strong. So I mean, it's gonna be a good game. I'm trying to have some big stats. So
Is it hard to separate the emotionalism of the moment from the fact that you still got to play a football game, or are you easily able to do that?
I don't know. It's kind of both, I guess, because it is a little bit more emotional, but at the same time, it gets you more hyped up, I feel like. So it's going to be more trying to calm myself down, like, okay, just relax, let's just go. So, I mean, it gives you more energy, I feel like, just because, I don't know, it's just kind of like that last bang. You only got one more home game, one more away, and, you know, it's done.